Hello.
Hello.
Almost at the same time, Dan. We almost did it. It's Albums Club.
It's Album Club time.
Yeah, how exciting. I am Leonie Cooper.
I'm Dan Stubbs.
Dan's back in his normal chair this week because I was away last week. So
freaked some people out last week as well.
Yeah, it freaked me out when I watched it because I thought I looked really different.
Right. Yeah.
And then I realised I just wasn't there. I was on holiday, watching from afar.
Exactly. And it is Album Club, and the good news is that it's album time again. So like after summer silly season.
The summer lull.
Right, yeah.
It's now autumn, back to school, back to the recording studio.
Back with a vengeance. So there's, with honourable mentions, I would say, this week to Slutface and The Horrors, whose albums aren't going to be talked about beyond that mention there.
I've got another one, Phoebe Bridgers as well, who's this amazing LA folksy Elliott Smith style singer-songwriter, who I think is great.
I thought that was the woman that played Fleabag. But two bigger albums have usurped these.
Talented women. Two huge albums. The first one is The Killers. The second one is Enter Shikari. And then, of course, we have a classic album that was released 20 years ago, actually today. Yeah. That hardly never happens. It's always like 3 days ago, 2 days in the future. But, yeah, 20 years ago, who could it possibly be? You will find out. But first, we shall discuss The Killers with Wonderful, Wonderful.
You can't break me down. I got gas in the tank. I got money in the bank. I got news for you, baby. You're looking at...
Here it is.
We've only gone and got the vinyl.
Oh my God, vinyl, Dan.
Do we talk about this?
It's a shell. Doesn't look like anything else. Just looks like a shell.
Is it?
Nope, it's a shell. Could be an ice cream. I don't... Maybe. Could be suggestive of something. Who knows? Who knows what it could be suggestive of? This is the 5th Killers album. And it's their first in 5 years because Brandon, the handsomest Ken doll of all time, has been suffering from writer's block.
And he talks about this on this album.
Well, there's a song called Have All the Songs Been Written?
Yeah.
At the end. And like, sort of, but maybe not because you've done 10.
And the mad thing here is, I'm going to say this is an unreasonably good album for the Killers to put out now.
What, after so many years?
This is their best album in ages.
It is. Look at them on the Shellaphone there.
Do something funny, guys.
The camera loves you. So yeah, first album in 5 years. It's like, people are calling it their best since Sam's Town, which was 11 years
also,
ago.
Sam's Town wasn't that good, I'm going to say.
Hey, no, Sam's Town was the Springsteen album, henceforth Sam's Town was good.
And the fact you called it the Springsteen album has a lot to do with it, because they were always trying to, hey, let's have an era, let's be an era. And this album actually is just like, let's make a really good Killers album, which I think is key to it, because they're not trying to do our U2 album or our Springsteen album. They're just trying to like actually go back to basics and do a great Killers album. There
are moments on this record that are highly reminiscent of other artists, though, I will say. So opening track, Wonderful, Wonderful, title track. It's very, very reminiscent of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac.
It really is.
In terms of notes.
They are yanking the chain.
And the order that the notes are in.
Yeah.
It is very similar. It's also, so the big track in the middle of the album, Tyson versus Douglas, which is about Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas's big fight in 1990.
Yeah, right.
Which I'd not heard of before. I looked it up. Apparently Tyson lost to the underdog, Douglas.
But this is from the perspective of Tyson, right?
Yes, yeah. It's a sad tale, but also...
That's very... Sorry.
I was just going to say, it sounds like the war on drugs.
Right, yeah.
But it sounds like if the war on drugs were on the X Factor.
Bit of a chicken and egg situation with Killers and the war on drugs, I suppose, isn't there? Like, just one's kind of like one's for people and one's for hipsters.
Yeah, I would say they're quite different ones.
Bits of them.
They use guitars.
This Tyson thing is very telling about it. So like this... May I delve into the psychology of the Killers?
Yeah, I was just going to get my tea.
Okay, take a big gulp. So, this is the Killers now. The last album wasn't that good. They've said this. Brandon's a very hypercritical person, will admit these kind of things.
There's a lot of thoughts going on in that beautiful head of his.
I've got my explaining hands coming
Sorry.
out. The story is that the band is kind of falling apart, so members have left. You know, or not really left, but they don't want to tour anymore.
Yeah, you get family, you don't want to be on the road. I understand.
So now it's just kind of the Brandon and Ronnie show mostly, which is this kind of mad double act of this incredibly serious, neurotic frontman and this incredibly daft doofus drummer.
Hey.
He's fun, but he's a very daft man, isn't he?
Big talk, never forget big talk.
So you've got this kind of yin and yang situation now. You wouldn't expect that in this kind of context that they would come back with something so good, but I think Brandon has kind of embraced what he is here, And it's actually, this is way more personal than his solo albums, in that you learn a lot about him. Like, he just kind of puts it out on the line, and like, you know, doing that song from the perspective of Tyson, it's like, yeah, we're a big band, but we worry about not being a big band. You know, he kind of wakes up bolt upright in the middle of the night and thinks, what if I'm not the biggest band in the world anymore?
It's freaking out.
Yeah. And there's loads of kind of stuff about his relationship with his wife.
Yeah, really, so it's not just about him personally, it's about his family and those close to him. So I wonder if his wife was like, you're going to sing all these songs about like kind of it's her PTSD and stuff like that. It's really a very, very personal record, but big tunes.
And
Can't deny it.
Big tunes. So they came back, the first thing we heard from this was the song The Man, which is this it's this amazing like disco, indie disco. It's just a like instant indie disco classic.
But is it sort of taking the piss out of his old self, his feathery shouldered self, like Glam Killers when Mr. Brightside era? Is he doing that?
Totally. Yeah. So it's about his kind of
I read that well.
It's about his swagger at the time, and his kind of the way he tried to behave and the way he saw himself behaving, and like looking back as that as a kind of an older, wiser, more humble guy probably. But
still very, very handsome.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Still very handsome man.
And it's just a great song. It's probably the best Killers song since Mr. Brightside. I've said it.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! Well, even better than their Christmas single from a few years ago that talks about Harry Dean Stanton and Warren Zevon. I listened to that a lot this week in post the death of Harry Dean Stanton, one of my all-time fave old guys. There's a long list of my fave old guys. Keep on holding on, Tom Waits. It's gonna be fine.
It's really kind of like reference, like talking about his wife. There's even kind of references specific conversations. Like there's one where it's like, "I told you about McCartney." That's a heavy name to drop. That was about when he tried to impress her with an anecdote about meeting Paul McCartney, and she's just like,
Like, oh, do you think he was like, "I'll write that one down. You sign a lyric later as well." It's a pretty good moment.
But yeah, I just think it's really good. I don't come from this as a person who loves the Killers.
Yeah, like, but it is a good. Yeah, it's been on The Office a lot over the past few weeks. I like it. There's also some like weird stuff happening on here. Like Woody Harrelson pops up to read from the Book of Matthew. Because they are religious types, the Killers.
Right. Yeah.
No, indeed. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Mermen.
Mermen. They are mermen of Salt Lake City. So they live in Vegas, but that's where the mermen live.
What's the vinyl looking like?
The actual vinyl?
Don't tell me it's just boring old black vinyl. Yeah, it is.
Oh, no, come on. Just because you can see from there, they need to see at home.
Should have been pink.
It's really heavy though, is it? Is it 180 grams?
Right, yeah. Ooh, it's going to occupy a bit of space on your shelf, that one.
Yeah, weighty.
So, how many...
shells?
Suggestive seashells out of 5 suggestive seashells?
It's a 4 suggestive seashells. That's quite hard to say. 4 suggestive seashells.
Yeah. She
sells suggestive
seashells
on the seashore.
I also do that.
I can't get it back in.
I concur.
You want to talk about suggestive? It won't fit.
You're stripping value, the resale value off that by destroying that.
I can't. It won't.
Don't watch people. Right, there we are. Well done, The Killers.
Well done, The Killers.
Next,
always good.
Then. What's next?
What's next? It is. You know what's next, Dan? It is Enter Shikari.
And it's the album, The Spark. Right. Hey, we've got the vinyl.
Hey! Enter Shikari with The Spark. So that was the Killers' 5th album.
Yeah.
This is Enter Shikari's 5th album as well. And also, when I put this album on, I listened to them in quick succession, and I thought this was still the Killers album. But then I realised that the vocal was different. It was a man from St Albans, not a man from Las Vegas. Though many say St Albans is the Las Vegas of the South, don't they?
They do, yeah.
They do. Have you been? Bloody hell. You can spend a lot of money in St Albans.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Cobbled streets.
So it's weird to think that this band have been together almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So they formed in 1999. They were still known as Hybrid for a while. Then they became Enter Shikari. So their debut was actually only released 10 years ago, but they've been together for a long time. They're still kind of in their early 30s. And I think they're one of the most consistently underrated UK bands there is. They're a really interesting band, but it feels like they're the kind of group who sort of reached a glass ceiling in a way. They don't seem to be able to get beyond that. I mean, have they done stadium shows? Is that
they might have?
They might have done like Ali Pali, but there just seems to be like
the
kind of they get to a level and then they don't go any further, which I'm not sure why. But this could be their Biffy Clyro style breakthrough album.
Totally.
I think
the albums in the past have kind of serviced their live show, and it's all been really about like the live show has been their thing.
See, I just chip in, Dan. So I didn't think I was an Enter Shikari fan, and then about 4 years ago, I went to see them play live, and I left being like, oh, I love Enter Shikari. Their live shows are so good, and like Rao Reynolds, their frontman, is like just a great classic frontman. He's politically charged, he's outspoken, he often has silly hair. It's kind of all you want from, and he just jumps around everywhere. And they're really good, kind of decent songs. But yeah, they were this weird kind of metalcore, techno, drum and bass, punk, hardcore fusion thing. They sort of made
Call
up.
it what you want.
They sort of made up their own genre.
Yeah.
Electronicore, some people have called it.
Right, okay,
or just, you know, the Prodigy crossed with Rage Against the Machine. Whatever you want to say. But they had this their own genre going on. This is slightly different.
It's more. It feels more like an album that you would sit there and listen to. Like so.
It's much more mainstream.
There's kind of glam rock bits in it. There's bits that sound like there's a lot of the streets in there. I think there's.
Yeah, I thought some Jamie T in there as well.
Jamie T, and there's one song that sounds loads like Part Life, which is the Revolt of the Atoms.
And there's Rabble Rouser, which is like a grime track as well. It sounds really grimey. And there's a ballad, Airfield, which is their Many of Horror. Like that's the one they're going to hope someone's going to sing on Christmas X Factor. Yeah, publishing money, you know what I'm saying?
But so, and look, if we look at the album, so so it's this kind of Star Trek-y type keyboard setup.
It's making that noise, isn't it?
Well, you're trying to elaborate. This is like it's like a sort of sci-fi concept album that's about Brexit.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, so
great
there's these
idea.
sort of like weird sci-fi themes to it, and there's a bit where he sort of finds himself in. I don't know if this was mostly happening in my head, but it seemed like he'd landed on a Fern Gully style rainforest planet.
Yeah, slightly in your head, but also I get it.
Where he's sort of, you know, he says his mind is so at one that he says, I feel like an empty inbox. What a great feeling that is.
Feel like an empty inbox. You're a man who doesn't have an empty inbox, are you?
Yeah, I've got that.
You're notoriously
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. Oh, my inbox is always empty. Right, that's the first thing I do every morning.
So I just heard that and I thought, what a great lyric. Like, so good. And but this, it's about kind of like being in this, kind of forest environment.
Yeah.
Sort of, it kind of starts, got like an intro and an outro. It's a bit like Time by ELO, but also really fucked up about Brexit.
It's so fucked up about Brexit. So the main fucked up about Brexit song is called Take My Country Back.
Yeah.
The lyric being, don't want to take my country back, want to take my country forward.
Yeah.
See, you see what he's saying there. But also take my country back, something like that means something too.
Like, write that on the wall of the bog
of the barfly
in the pub tonight.
Yeah.
That's a good slogan, that, innit?
It's really good.
Take a marker pen out with you and write it somewhere.
No, scratch it in with keys.
Right.
Because then it'll be there longer.
Now, vinyl time.
Da, 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 da.
Grey.
Oh, silver. Of course, very future.
There's something else in here.
Oh my God. Damn, what could that possibly be?
Some classified documents.
Whoa.
Right.
You're not going to open them, are you?
I'll have a look.
They're classified.
I'm not showing them to everyone else.
Okay.
Authorised use only.
Are you authorised personnel?
This is a bit TLDR, but I mean, like, it's... Look at that! You get some classified documents in it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But yeah, so, the cool thing about Rao Reynolds singing about Brexit and kind of attacking this political stuff is this is not out of nowhere. Like, when no one else was political in music, he was the one banging that drum and he was talking about stuff, and he always has.
Which is why it's so great,
way to play in unexpected places, to like put the fans first, to talk about politics, to talk about big things, and like in a way, this, like all the like players are lined up for them to put one in the back of the net to make a football metaphor that I'm completely
you don't even like football. So despite the fact that it's much more commercial sounding, they haven't lost any of their integrity or of their politics, which is just fantastic.
Their time is now.
Wonderful. Enter Shikari.
How many revolting atoms out of 5 revolting atoms will you give it?
Revolting as in disgusting?
Revolting as in...
revolutionary.
Get up, stand up. Yeah.
4.
I'm going to give it a 4.
Copycat.
That's a consensus for each song. Each album so far.
So finally, Dan.
Yeah.
The final record that we'll be discussing today. 20th anniversary today.
Yeah.
20 years ago, so 1997, September the...
What it is today.
What is it today?
Don't know.
Today. Friday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It might not 22nd.
22nd. Did you just look on the floor? Is that you keep,
calendar on the floor. So what would take us back? What would come out that day? What was it?
It was Bjork with Homogenic. Ta-da!
The vinyl.
For the final time today, the final vinyl. That's good, that rhymes, doesn't it? So 20 years ago today, her third international solo album, because obviously back home in Iceland, she'd been churning out music for years with Sugar Cubes and all that. But then there was Debut, her kind of international debut, funnily enough, called Debut, followed by Post, which had all the kind of big hits that she was known for at times. So as Oh So Quiet was on there. What was
Isabel was on there, I think.
Yeah. So that was the one where she was sort of presented to the world as this quirky pop pixie.
So I think British culture at the time, it was kind of Britpop time. They took her as this sort of like, oh, we found someone incredibly kooky. And So, but really, it was just that one song. It's So Quiet was this kind of big silly thing that she put out.
But could have been like a one-hit wonder kind of thing
really,
as well.
Yeah, it really kind of overtook her. She kind of became like a big, one of those things that that would be spoofed on TV, and kind of like people thought they had the measure over her, and it was just this kind of, I suppose, fetishization of this kind her. Oh, she's from Iceland. Everyone's
gosh, they believe in pixies.
Right, yeah. So this was her going, nah, I'm not that.
Nah, sorry guys, I'm a little bit more interesting than that. So she ditched the producer that she had for the first two albums, and then kind of went on with Marcus Dravs, who latterly has produced Arcade Fire and Mumford & Sons. And there's some other guys, Mark Bell of LFO, Howie B. Apparently the Wu-Tang Clan were also supposed to produce on this album as well.
Right.
But that didn't work out because they were busy.
Right.
With their own album, which is fair enough. And she wanted this album to sound like Iceland. So apparently Marcus Dravs said that she wanted to sound like rough volcanoes with soft moss growing over it. And it's a very experimental record, and it's very elemental, it's very earthy, but also very modern at the same time. So it does reflect Iceland, which is a very earthy place full of natural wonder. Have you been? It's very...
I have.
Have you?
Beautiful.
Yeah. There's the big geyser and the little geyser. Did you see the geysers?
I did see the geysers.
Did you see the waterfall?
I did see the waterfall.
I went on a geography trip. Yeah. Cans of Coca-Cola were really expensive.
I went to a festival where it never went dark.
Outrageous.
Turns out that's not a good thing.
So as well as all this kind of earthy stuff going on, there's all this technology and computer science happening. So there's violins and string sections, but with electronics and stuff. There's loads of stuff going on here, like too much stuff maybe. Like it's to listen to, it's very overwhelming.
But she said she wanted it to have one sound all the way through, and it does. And it's kind of it's a concept album, and it's got kind of a concept sound.
Yeah, so not lyrically.
If you would skip down the shop, skip down to Our Price, thinking, I love it, so quiet, I can't wait to hear this. You might have been a bit kind of freaked out by it.
Yeah, you have to sit down and kind of listen to it. This isn't background music. There's a lot going on. You need to kind of headphones, time, and there's Bachelorette, which is, she called it like the best Bond theme that never happened. It does, like, this huge sounding song. And then there's the song Joga. My Icelandic is terrible, as you might have guessed, which she sort of just basically invents dubstep and Burial on as well, like 10 years before Hyperdub ever picked up on him and stuff like that. So there's kind of really like forward-thinking stuff happening here. And as well, there's this whole amazing cover art, which Alexander McQueen designed the cover art. So Nick Knight, a fashion photographer, did it all. He kind of, so it's all Alexander McQueen stuff, and she was like, all these nails are real, and she had all this kind of stuff on her face. So I don't think it's been computer, it has a little bit, but this is all, she was wearing all this stuff. It's kind of an epic picture. And she's been
this, at Disneyland.
But she was like to become this warrior, a warrior who had to fight not with weapons, but with love. That's what she said.
Which is so great, but I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
There was a time when everyone felt like things had got a bit silly. And everyone was getting a bit, and then everyone got a bit, no, I'm serious, mate. So Radiohead went, no, the Benz was a bit silly, we're going to do OK Computer. Blur had put out all the Part Life and Great Escape, and then come back with Blur, which was a bit more...
Oh, it was serious, wasn't it?
Have I got my Blur chronology right?
Yes, you have,
People were kind of,
don't worry.
People were kind of kicking back against this sort of nonsensization of pop culture, and this was part of it. And actually, it is great, but also, where's the banger, like Big Time Sensuality?
Where's the fun?
Yeah, where's the fun?
But maybe you don't need fun when you've got the kind of sweeping, all is full of love. NME at the time gave it 9 out of 10.
We didn't need fun because driving school had just started on telly, and that was really good.
God, was that 97? What was the name of the lady who couldn't drive?
Maureen.
Maureen.
Yeah.
Is she still around?
I hope so. She might be watching.
But yeah, we gave it 9 out of 10 at the time. Should I read you a quote of what we said about it at the time?
Please do.
Ted Kessler's review. Bjork's greatest skill is not her remarkable voice or rich songwriting talent. It is that her vigorous pursuit of sounds both experimental and avant-garde has not in any way harmed or hindered her commercial clout.
Right.
So this album did really well as well. It's a little surprise that while her third solo album is probably her most weird, it is also her best.
Right.
Like we were tripping over ourselves to say how amazing this album was. So this is also the album where the year after, she landed Best International Female at the Brit Awards because of this record. Do you remember her speech?
No.
I am grateful grapefruit. That's her speech.
Right.
Now you remember, don't you?
That's a good little pub quiz question, that. We should
do a pub quiz. Also, if you are intrigued about this album, want to know more, NME writer Emily Mackay has got a book out about this album next month.
Yeah.
Pick it up, why don't you? And also, if you're intrigued about Bjork, she's releasing a new album in November.
Quite. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all going Bjorky.
Utopia.
Yeah.
It's all turned out
and
Bjorky.
To be fair, like the course she's set on with this album, she's never let this drop. Like, she's been amazingly experimental with every single release since then.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
Doubt the new one is like that.
There's been no more. It's oh so quiet. So,
oh my God.
Sorry. Guys, look at that.
It's made out of some sort of radioactive element.
Oh, I can't touch it. It's too late now. So
you genuinely can't get surprised at seeing that, can you?
Also, doesn't that look a bit like the Aphex Twin logo?
Yeah, it might be.
He probably stole that off her as well. She's so pioneering.
How many sh's out of 5?
How many sort of what? Oh, but she's beyond that now, Dan.
Right, okay. Well, how many green bits of plastic out of 5 green bits of plastic?
It's a 5 album, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to controversially say it's a 3.
Okay, should we agree to go for a 4?
No, we can be different.
No, let's agree for 4.
4.
Nice.
Everything's
nice
a 4.
What
a happy day.
4s all round. 4s to the floor.
Yeah.
3 to the... There are only 3 albums, there can't be 4 to the floor.
And with that,
sorry,
another episode of Album Club concludes.
Oh, I can't believe it's over so quickly. I missed it last week.
There we are. We'll be back next week. Hope you will be too.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.